Andrick, who's going to talk us through the great work of the Pacific Geospatial and Surveying Council and some plans for the future. So over to you. Thanks, Andrick.
Thank you very much, Nick. I'll tell you a story. When we started off our journey in 2011, and we were thinking, these hydrographers, they come and do their work and they just don't share the data and information with us. What's happening here, And the oceanographers in our team are saying, we should do something about this, and say, okay, I come from a geodetic background, and then we started working with the hydrographers of defining the vertical datum. And that's when things started to come together. I said, okay, do we have a community of practice? So that's where we started off saying, okay, we should have one council. And that's where our journey began. And as you see here on our title presentation is a resemblance of partnership and collaboration. And we have 14 countries who are part of the Pacific Geospatial Surveying Council. And I would like to actually acknowledge our Pacific colleagues here in this room. I'd like to actually acknowledge our chair here, Vaipo Mataora from Cook Islands. So in Maisie and Hicks, who has been like Tambo's colleague. So she's our vice chair from Fiji. But I would say that we have been doing this work on the background, and we started to get officially recognized starting early 2020s, I would say, because we never had any direct support or any funding at all to operate. So we were always supported by COSPAC, which is Climate and Oceans Support Program in the Pacific, funded by DFAT Australia. And that's where we show the visibility and demonstrate the work which we do, because all the infrastructure which is developed or established by this program is being used to have a better value economically as well and socially as well, and make people understand why this infrastructure or tide gauge stations is for, or what the GNSS core station is for. So that's coming out we have a tide calendars. We are able to demonstrate how much the land moves when there's an earthquake, for example, in Samoa, Tonga, just recently in Vanuatu. So starting this year, we were able to get full support from COSPAC. And I've just moved into a new role this year from the senior geodetic surveyor to a coordinator role of PGSC Partnership Desk. We do have now dedicated support for Mel, again starting this year. Ed Hawks, I will share his couple of his thoughts through the presentation towards the end of this session. We have a JETSI advisor, Michelle Gudu from Zimbabwe. Ed is from Australia. And we do have Merana Kichione. She's from Fiji. So she's been with the project for a while now, supporting the PGSC work. And again, we do need communication. It's very important. I'm really bad with communication technically, because I would say that I'm not able to, demonstrate to people how, things will work when I talk about geodesy. But when I talk about in simple terms, what we're looking at, locational information, that's how we are looking at. And when we talk about, phones like this is very important because everyone uses the maps here. So that's where we are coming from. And we also have one of our colleagues being promoted to as a geodetic officer. So technically we are, being more strengthened too as well. So that's where we are coming from is we do have 14 countries. We would like to extend this to other Pacific Island countries as well. So again, just to follow on historically where we are coming from, if you could see 2014, that's where we started to meet. So PGSC, Pacific Geospatial Surveying Council, it's an independent regional body. And again, it was, so 1997, we had started to get a user conference. And that's when PGSC members started to attend in 2014, this conference and present, and then also attend our meetings too as well. So this meeting was to, happen to as well to establish this council. But what form it will be in what structure, that's what we are deciding. So this council is for the hydrographers, for the land surveyors, for the geodetic surveyors, for the cadastral surveyors, for the GIS practitioners, experts, and everyone. So we wanted to bring everyone together. and have one, like, and share their lessons, share the knowledge, share the skills, expertise to the community too as well. So we started off our journey in 2014, and back then we also have got a charter, and it has been endorsed by 11 countries too as well. So we do have a strategy in place, so which will go under annual review. And now officially it's been supported by the partnership desk at the Pacific Community. Looking at the mission, as you could see that Pacific Island Survey and Geospatial Services, including hazard mapping, urban planning, cadastral mapping, hydrography, and other geospatial requirements for sustainable development. And this is to sufficiently resource to respond to member country priorities. As you could see that we fall under Pacific, we fall under the small island developing states. So this is very important that when we, provide the data information as a surveyor or as a geospatial expert, we work towards, measuring coastal inundation, sea level changes, and all of those things too as well. Okay, so this is the charter which we had the 11 countries endorsed. We are looking to get the 3 other countries who have been working in the background to get that endorsed by the cabinet, who are Papua New Guinea, Palau, and Nauru. So we do have biannual meetings now with our business meeting, and we do have 3 working groups. And this council is governed by the members. The partnership desk, which is us, we support it as well. So this is one example where we had a charter endorsed by the Solomon Islands in 2015, and the last one was endorsed by Fiji in 2016. So between 2015 and 2016, we had the 11 countries endorse this charter. This is something which we were working on the background during 2014 and 2015. We had the the strategy been drafted as well. We had the male consultants engaged to review the strategy too as well. And then again, this was officially endorsed. Some of the reflections which we have our colleagues from Vanuatu, Bart Thomas from Geoscience Australia, and Fatasi, who was the inaugural chair from Tuvalu too as well, and colleague from Palau. So, okay, so this is a meeting which we held in person in Tonga. It was in collaboration with UN-GGCE at that time. And so we had the meeting, our business meeting, which we had all the members in present too as well. And something which we had started off with 2014, and then we were not able to meet in person in 2020. And we had all the sessions, the working group sessions and the business meeting in 2020 to happen. This was a good example for our organization. So the organization which I come from, we have our headquarters in Numia in New Caledonia, and there are 27 members of our organization. So it's an inter-regional organization. And we also have been having different meetings as well. If we are not able to host a business meeting during that year, we are able to host some plenary sessions too as well. So we would like to acknowledge UN-GGCE to have provide these opportunities where countries are able to travel to Suva or Fiji as well to host so we can fund participants to come to the country too as well, to Fiji. And this is where we are able to endorse the Pacific Geospatial Women Network. And we have now 3 interns who are working on not only, they've been actually, transformed from internship to actual, positions they are holding to as well in our organization as technical officers. So we've been working together in this plenary session, which we have the presence of IHO too as well. So International Hydrographic Office, where we are working closely to have a MOU in place. And this is 2022, but 2023, we had a business meeting. So we are due for a business meeting this year, which we are anticipating to have one in Sydney this year. So back in 2006, there's another working sessions we have been having is for the maritime boundary session. So this will be in, in conjunction with the maritime boundary session, which will be the 24th working session for the maritime boundaries. So this is something one thing which Romano brought up. Why can't we have that format of working session when we have when we are meeting like this? Can we do that as well? So as you could see that the maritime boundaries in the Pacific has been quite successful, where we are able to complete the delineation or delimitation of it. So that's where he was coming from. So maybe I can provide that feedback later, how we did that and in what format, but it was strongly supported by all the donor agencies, EU, DFAT, MFAT, and UK as well. So something which we had, in Australia, where we were able to get our business in order too as well. So because during the COVID, we had issues, we were not able to meet in person, but now we are able to anticipate to meet in person biannually too as well. So where we are able to get countries to provide the updates, and we are able to look into the action items too as well. And we were fortunate enough to have during the day these 23 presentations, and I'd like to also acknowledge Nick here, who has been very actively contributing to our council. And thank you, Nick, and thank you, Ryan, as well from FIG. And that's we have been, building some capability and capacity through those initiatives too as well. So where they were able to present on from the global initiatives and the regional updates as well. So something which we were able to, present to the PGC members, and Aaron was there too as well to share his experiences on how he's been working in the region from Kiribati too as well. So because we wanted to adapt how voluntary scheme can be, replicated into other countries too as well. So that was a very good example when we first met Aaron in Kiribati, and Kiribati has been quite successful to have this voluntary scheme in the past too as well. So we do have 3 working groups: positioning, geospatial policy and data management, and capacity building. So there are 3 working groups. We do have 3 chairs for these working groups, and so this is something which is the countries are driving it, and it's country-led. So we give it to the countries to lead it and to drive these working groups. So when we talk about positioning, we are talking about doing some field surveys or maritime demarcation or land demarcation as well, and some positioning of the islands and atolls too as well. So it's very important that when we do geodetic survey campaigns as well, we are able to assist and provide support to the countries too as well. So I think on the top left, that's young days when I was helping the Papua New Guinea government doing the mohair. And I was 20 years old then. Okay, so this slide was presented actually by Vipo. So as you could see, that COSPEC demonstrates, well, actually with the assistance of DFAT and with COSPEC as part of the Pacific Sea Level and Geodetic Monitoring Project, which is like a 30-year project now, which we have the sea level data since 1991 or 1993. We do have like GNSS core stations and the tide gauge stations too as well. So we are able to define how we can benefit from these infrastructure. And I think through this infrastructure, Fiji was able to establish more GNSS cores as well. The other countries are looking into as well. Tonga is also looking into working on to additional GNSS cores too as well. So something which we have been working closely with Fiji government is establishing the geodetic infrastructure. So they have 8 GNSS cores, and the 2 is managed by the PSL GM project. So that's and also we had a 2-day geodetic survey operational training too as well. So we had about like 60 operators being part of the campaign, and that campaign was like in 3 phases in 2019 and 2020, where we had like 41 stations occupied over a 7-day period. So this was quite heavy in terms of operational side too as well. Not only that, but we're looking at the logistics and how we're going to move around too as well. And while the 7-day occupation has been carried out, we were we were able to also occupy some stations for 6 hours. So just to densify the network, and also some stations for hourly occupation so that we can, have those stations to be used by the cadastral surveyors for the origin of datum too as well. So we had the hydrographers as well being part of this, and the Navy too as well being part of this survey campaign too. And we had the assistance from Geoscience Australia, who were able to provide some equipment too. And when we talk about the geospatial policy and data management, these are some examples, very good examples, which is already out there, and which is in ISO standards. And we are able to replicate that into the national, with the countries too as well. The standards, the guidelines which we have from ICSM, and again when we talk about the policy and framework through UN-GGCE. And this is an example where we were able to walk through in the preparation of the data survey campaign, where we were able to see how the data can be stored, even downloading the data, the small things which we anticipate, how we can convert them from the raw data format to the RINEX format. These are very good lessons which countries are able to learn, and so we are able to demonstrate to our colleagues here in Fiji, and we are able to convert all the files and all the metadata into digital formats too as well. So all of these digital data was converted into converted, but we were able to verify and validate these metadata too as well. And some of these examples was like in this format in Excel or Word, and having locality diagrams and having the field sheets converted digitally too as well. We did had a report released as well when we talk about the data handling. So we released that report in 2022, so that when we're gonna submit the data to Geoscience Australia, and when they process the data, analyze the data, it is all in order for them to use it for processing. So some of the capacity building we have been doing this. This is an example which we were in Bougainville, where we had the GNSS base station up and running for a few days, and where we were able to define the vertical reference datum. So something which I've mentioned earlier, that we are able to calibrate the tide gauges and having a GNSS on a dinghy. So that's on the right here. And at the same time, our colleagues were able to record the 6-minute sea level data on a tide pole, where we are able to see that we can compare both together. So we've moved away from recording the manual observations, and we are all just using the GNSS buoy, GNSS on a dinghy, but making sure the heights are accurate and it's measured from the water level of the dinghy too as well. And when we look at our network, which has been quite effectively building capacity in the community for mapping, so we are able to provide tablets to our community, and where they are able to map their resources when they talk about mangroves, when they talk about fisheries in their community too as well. So this is one good example, and we were able to take the interns in the field to experience how you can carry out geodetic surveys or precise differential leveling using a total station too as well. It's very important that we do have a good partnership. So this is one example where you could demonstrate that we do have a MOU signed in 2018 with S plus SNZ and plus Triple SI. I mean, following the FIG meeting earlier this year, we are renewing these MOUs now. So with GCA and S plus SNZ too as well. So hopefully we are able to do that. And also the other organizations are very much interested to sign up a MOU with the PGSC too as well. And last year, so these are some of the activities which we have been doing since 2024. We presented at the UN-GGCE side meeting on the land and the sea integration. And the panel consisted of Fiji, Tonga, New Zealand, and the Pacific community. We are were able to bring the Fiji team to Geoscience Australia and collaborate further on other activities apart from not only geodetic survey campaigns, but they were able to upload the GNSS course to the EPRIF as well. And last year in November 2024, because the countries, it's very hard for the technical people or the directors to understand, how they can use the resources from the iGIF initiatives. So we were fortunate that Theo with his group and Greg Scott, and they were able to visit Fiji, and we were able to have a week-long workshop, a deep dive session, and also we are looking into that too as well further on this year to have focused workshops on SDG Data Alliance or the Data Hub with the Fiji, Tonga, Tuvalu, and Palau. And last year, earlier, later on, in December, we had this land and sea integration, land and sea international workshop, and thanks to UN-GGCE, where they were able to, bring the hydrographers, the geospatial, and the surveyors into one workshop from Fiji, from Vanuatu, and from Tonga. And some of these activities which we are looking at from the partnership desk is strengthening our initiatives and being more effective in terms of regional collaboration and coordination when mobilizing resources, providing some technical services in geodetic and hydrography and geospatial and remote sensing, improving our communication, updating our PGSC web page. And so we do have an official Facebook page and also having some webinars and virtual meetings. And not only that, but we would like to review our strategy too as well and complete the capacity mapping for individual countries to see what's the differences we had when we did the capacity mapping last 2020, how much they have achieved, within these 5 years. And so we can see that where are the gaps where we can, fill it in through PGSC partnership desk. Again, looking at some of the initiatives on Geodesy with the PGWN network, the fact sheets as well, updating the fact sheets. So that's where our comms people are coming in, and the geodetic infrastructure where we have a pool of equipment, and we would like to acknowledge Geoscience Australia, where they are able to provide some second-hand equipment to PGSC. So we are able to actually, hand it over to countries. So we are in an agreement with Fiji so that some of this equipment can be used for the GNSS course as well. Again, looking at, geodetic data information and reporting, we would like to have our reports more visible too as well. So we are working with our colleagues who are like system developers, where we can have an application where we can say that, okay, these are the benchmarks in Tonga. So something on that app, and also providing some historical data information, which SPC has been holding on to it too as well. And following on, what are our needs from PGSC? This is some of the needs as well. We are looking at is having a country action plan. And that is very important that we do have a country action plan. It is aligned to the global framework as well. And when we look at the UN-GGCE iGIF initiative, we are looking at these 9 strategic pathways. And that's we can be puzzled out to different, initiative too as well. So one of them, if we look into like policy and legal, that is something which we are seeing that UNCLOS is something we have adopted and have, replicated into countries where all the maritime jurisdictions are in the international reference frame. And when we talk about the geodetic infrastructure, this is a very good example of how many stations which we have for a country. And if you look at Australia, there are more than hundreds of stations. Look at New Zealand as well. They have good geodetic database. We look at Indonesia too as well. But when you come to the Pacific, there's one per country. And you have seen that in the country presentations as well. So we would like to collaborate further with our regional partners that we could actually, establish more GNSS cores in these countries too as well. And also share the data through the EPRIF as well. So something which we would like to do that. Not only that, but we have been also given a go-ahead to deploy temporary tide gauges in the countries too as well. So we have purchased about 8 temporary tide gauges where we would be deploying them. So this year we are deploying the temporary tide gauges in Samoa, Palau, and Fiji. So this is what we are doing from the PGSC initiatives too as well, but through COSPEC as well. And when we are putting up temporary tide gauges, we are also doing the geodetic component too as well. And again, when we are looking at the regional and national knowledge capability, we would like to have some SOPs developed around that too as well. Even if we are working with the digital or with the automatic level, how you can do a beach profile survey, for example, how you can monitor your beaches as well, how much the coastline changes. So these are the things which we would like to do as well. So again, we would like to build more capacity, and also where we can see these resources and we can actually, through our ocean portal, publish them as well and share them with our countries too as well. This, I think, Ryan has actually, presented on this one. It's the key that whatever work we are doing with our community, our GIS community, our surveyors community, and our hydrographers and PGSC members, that we are, publishing them through the Facebook page or the LinkedIn page. This is something extra which we are presenting, and this page is managed by our comms officer or comms advisor, Merana Kichone. So she's been helping us. As you could see, that top right is one of our key ones as well. Is you could see that the 40% of Pacific Islanders live within 5 kilometers of the coastline. So it's very important that our coastline is accurately mapped. And and when we talk about even doing transects on the reef edges, it's important that that is also captured too as well, or the data is collected too as well. So this is a couple of slides which has been actually, this is a conversation which our male advisor and I had, and he asked me this question of like, what will be the key connector, for the data, or can that be a database? And when we look at connecting all the surveyors and the geospatial professionals, we look at one infrastructure, the survey marks, the survey benchmarks. We see that all of them, we establish them. And where does it go to? We provide the coordinates, and then the other surveyors and the hydrographers, they use it. But when we look at the National Geodetic Database, we provide that information and the data to the land surveyors, the cadastral surveyors, engineers, marine infrastructure surveyors too as well, academics too as well, the GIS technicians too as well. But all of these database, how much impact does it have as well? So this is what we would like to map, is the impact story too as well. If you see a benchmark on the wall, what value does it, have to the Ports Authority? It is used by the engineers to develop the harbor or the port, because they need to see that it has to be above the mean high water springs. So in 100 years, it is still above the sea level. If there is a sea level rise, it is above that sea level. So that's what we are looking at, for example, for one. But are these database somewhere where we can locate it? This is, and it was for all the countries we are looking at. How many countries has it and how many does not have it as well? And this is, we are looking at also the survey reports where it is published. So just yesterday, we were looking at one benchmark in Cook Islands. They lost all the data information for the geodetic component in the fire. So where are they going to start from? They don't have information on benchmark 18, but we do have one, which is only the height, but not the coordinates. So that's what we are looking at, is, like what Nick has mentioned on the fact book. It's very important that that is part of the roadmap. This is something which we found out from the evaluation. We're looking at countries, how much there is a linkage. As you could see previously, you could develop that linkage with the survey benchmark. But if you don't have that information, there's a break there. And then again, when we look at how many countries we have with an online database, there's only 5 we could think of. One country has an online database, but that is out of date too as well. 8 countries have paper records and is out of date too as well. We look at the hydrographic charts, the hydrographic surveys too as well. That's hundreds and hundreds of years old. So this is what we are looking at, is updating our hydrographic chart, converting them into ENCs. For countries with outdated paper records, how can we, connect? This is actually, coming out from our mail advisor. It seems like they are disconnected. We need to leverage with each other's work. That's why survey and geospatial work has more chance of error and it's more costly. And so that's my session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrick. It just shows what a wonderful job that is being done by the council, and in particular, I want to pay great respect and pay my thanks to you, because you've been the glue that has held that PGSC together for a long time. As you said, a lot of it was unfunded, and you did most of the support for this in your spare time. That's often what it takes to get these organisations started. You need passionate people who care about the community that they live in, and that's Andrick to a T. So thank you very much. It's a great demonstration of what's been done, and I'm very excited now that you've got a stronger funded, resourced secretariat. Yeah, I think you've done an awesome amount of work to get that funding secured for the team, and that's going to mean that you've now got some resources, much like what we do with the GGSC. We've finally got some resources to do that, so we don't need to do it in our spare time anymore. So I'm excited to work with you and to see what we can do for the Pacific community in the years to come. That's great news. Thank you. Pleasure of handing over to the birthday boy.